If you're watching this video, just be so for real with yourself. You know you want a Kindle. Go out and buy your Kindle. I'm giving you full permission. Hi Slayers and welcome back to my channel. My name is Eileen and in today's video we are going to be talking all about Kindle Paperwhites and if I think you guys should get one. So I have had my Kindle for 5 years now, which is crazy. That means I was literally 14 when I first got it, and when I was 14 I was a different person. I was just doing silly little things like being depressed and reading alone at lunch on my Kindle and listening to Boys Will Be Bugs on repeat and really relating to the lyrics. So, you know, that was definitely a different time period and hopefully I've grown since then, and as I've grown, so has my relationship with my Kindle, and I have many things to say about it. So, if you are interested in buying an e-reader or something that will help you read more books, then this is the video for you. Really quickly, I wanted to give you a little tour of my specific Kindle. This is a Kindle 10th Gen Paperwhite, and I got this when it came out in 2018, I believe. There is a newer version on the market that's a little bit bigger, but honestly to me, I don't feel the need to upgrade at all. I know that the newer one is faster, it's about the same price, and it's bigger, so if you're buying one straight new off of Amazon, then perhaps you should just go with that one. The price difference is really not that big. You can find these used for about $70 to $90 on eBay, but if you want to go on Amazon and get a new one, it's about $130 to $150, depending on if you get ads or not on it. There's also a couple different models like the regular Kindle and the kids Kindle, which are not waterproof, so just make sure you know the differences between them when you're shopping around. Okay, hi, so this is my Kindle. I named him Henry actually when I first got him, and I recently decorated him. If you haven't seen that video, you should go and check it out. But yeah, so I have the version with ads on it still, and honestly it doesn't bother me. Like, sometimes people are like, what are you reading? And I'm like, oh, it's just an ad on the front cover. You could pay the extra $20 to remove it, but, you know, we're balling on a budget, so we keep the ads on. And I'll just give you a quick little tour. You turn it on, the power button is down here, and it will open to the last book that you were reading. I was reading The Woman in Me by Britney Spears, and you can pinch to change the font and either make it bigger or make it smaller. Here, I'll show you a little highlight. Whenever you're connected to Wi-Fi, it will pop up the little definition with whatever you highlight, or you can just click highlight, and then it will show up in your highlights section, and you just can tap on both sides. There's a little clock up here that you can turn on, and this is how you can see what page you're on, what percentage you're on, how much is left in the chapter, and how much is left in the book. And then you can tap again to turn it off. And then if you tap at the top, you can see the settings. You have, oh, there's Henry the Kindle. You have dark mode, which I like to have on. And you can just change that there. You have the brightness. The brightness to me, been very good to me. You can sync, which is when you're adding a book from Amazon. And there's a bunch of other things to discover in the settings, like turning on the clock on the outside and just setting up your general Amazon account. But for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward menu. If you want to go home, you can just go back to your library and it will show all of the books that you have read, not just that you own, but you can search by what you only own. A lot of these were from my library, so if I try to click on it, it will say that it's not there. Some of them I own, like the entire Brown Sisters series, and it will pop up whenever I want it to, and it saves all of my highlights. Starting off with the main reason why I bought my Kindle in the first place, I was in middle school and my middle school didn't allow phones or any electronics to be out during lunch, and I wanted to read, so you know, I wouldn't have to engage in fake conversations where people would slightly bully me, but like just on the surface level. So instead of bringing like a book with me everywhere, a Kindle was a lot nicer for that. And they couldn't tell me I couldn't use it because it's essentially just a book. So if you are in some sort of school environment or office place that prohibits electronics for whatever reason, but will allow you to have an e-reader, this might be a good solution for you. One of the main benefits about a Kindle is it is so small. It is literally, I can actually fit this in most of my jean pockets. This thing is tiny. It's like the size of my face and I have a very small head. And it's literally just so small. It's so portable. You can take it anywhere that you want. And I find that so much better than carrying around a fat stack of books, especially if you're somebody who reads multiple books at once and you want to carry them all here. They're right here and they weigh nothing. Being able to just shove this Kindle in a bag and it take up almost no room made me so much more inclined to read all the time. I have seriously taken this thing to places you probably shouldn't take a normal book. It really just fits anywhere. And that is the main reason I would suggest getting any e-reader, is the portability of it. Because of how small it is, it made me less afraid to read big books. I don't know if you have this issue, but I am scared of big books. And before my Kindle, the biggest book I read was maybe like 500 pages, but after my Kindle, I can bang out those big books. I can read a lot of big books. I read the entire Harry Potter series on my Kindle. I read The Goldfinch. I read all of Twilight on my Kindle. These are pretty big books. I kind of was able to get over my fear of reading bigger books, and in turn I've read more books, which is kind of the goal of getting an e-reader, you know? One of the reasons I would recommend you getting a Kindle, especially if you don't like big books or you just have a hard time reading in general, is you can turn off the setting that shows you what page number you're on. So you can be completely blind in a book and not know how far along you are at all, and it kind of tricks your brain into being like, instead of thinking about, oh, I need to get to this page number, or oh, I'm on this page number so I know like where I should be in the plot line. It's kind of just like more about the reading experience, and I personally never have the stuff on that tells me how much longer in a chapter, how much longer in the book, even though it's really cool and I really like the statistics of it. Personally, I don't like want to race when I'm reading a book, so I like that you have the option to either turn that on or turn that off. And if you find yourself to be someone that like skips to the last line of a page or like really skims, having a Kindle might help because you can make the text as big as you want, you can like flip pages really fast, and you don't even have to know where you are in the book. So that's something that you can't really do in any physical book. You're obviously going to know where you are in the book and what page you're on. And so yeah, I just personally like being blind about it. You experience that too. Kindle might be worth it. One of the best things about getting a Kindle is the price at which you pay up front for the Kindle, and then how many books are at your disposal after. You pay a good $130 to $150 for your Kindle, and that's if you get it new. And after that, you now get to purchase ebook library books, which are so cool. So you just download the Libby app or the Overdrive app, and you can just use your local library card and check out as many free books as you possibly can. Yes, there are holds on them sometimes, which can be annoying, but you just have to be strategic about when you're placing a book and when you're placing another book on hold. You get pretty good at it, and this is like the main way that I read books. I am admittedly a slower reader, so it takes me a good like month to finish a book, but I am still able to get a free book basically every month just by going on my library app. I don't even have to visit the library in person, and as someone that's bad at social interactions, that's a good thing. And it just makes the process of like returning a book, getting books, a lot easier and simpler. And I get that you can also go visit your local library and get physical books, which is good, but in the off chance that they don't have the book you're looking for in person, you can often get it as an ebook. I also really like that on the same app you can get both the ebook and the audiobook at the same time, and then listen to the audiobook on your phone while you use your Kindle to read. I personally do this with most of the books that I get, and I find that it makes me read it a lot faster. If you buy a book on Amazon or something, like I said before, you get to keep that book forever, obviously, and it gets to stay in your downloaded library, and then you will basically forever be able to carry around that book along with whatever other book you're reading on your Kindle at that time, which I think is very cool. And I often do that when I really love a book and I just want to take it with me everywhere I go. And I find that like if I'm bored or I don't know what to read, I can just pick up reading that book from my Kindle, and I don't even have to worry about like where my physical copy is or anything like that. I know that up front the price can be a little bit scary, but this thing has lasted me 5 years and works perfectly fine like the same day that I took it out of the package. And I honestly love it. Like for the amount of free books that I've read on here versus the amount that I could have bought every single time, I have definitely made it worth it. Also, this is just a little hack from me. If you are a slower reader and say you download the book from the library and then the library wants to take the book back, perhaps if you were to turn off your Wi-Fi on your Kindle, the book just stays in your library. You can't download any new books at that time, but you can finish anything that's still on there. So now some of you might be coming from really loving reading traditional books, the feel, the smell, I totally get it. There is nothing that will replace that feeling. But there are a couple things that I really love about reading on the Kindle specifically that you can't get when you read a physical book. For one of them, whenever you highlight something, it collects all of your highlights, and at the end you can export it as a PDF and you can always see your highlights. Or if you like download and undownload the book and re-download it again, you can still see your same highlights, which I love. And you absolutely can take a highlighter to your favorite physical books, but that kind of hurts me a little inside, so I like that you can do it digitally and then also have like a pristine hard copy. Also, whenever you highlight something and long press it, you can find out the definition of the word or you can translate the word, and it's like instant. You no longer have to like read a book and be like, oh, I have to go look up this word, like let me do 12 steps, let me open a dictionary. No, you just tap it and it tells you the definition right there, which I love. And it makes me feel a little bit less stupid for not knowing a word, because then I automatically know the word like 5 seconds later. So a couple little things that might sway you if you're really on the fence. The first one that I love about the Kindle specifically is that it's waterproof if you get a Kindle Paperwhite, which is what I have. And that means you can read it in the bath, and I'm obsessed with this feature, and whenever I take a bath, I will bring my Kindle. Also, if you're someone who lives in a college dorm room and you have no privacy, it's good to read at night without having to have a book light or having to like whip out your iPad or something, and it will not bother your sleeping roommate who wakes up to the drop of a pin. Now, the only reason I would not recommend you getting a Kindle at least right away is if you have an iPad already. When I got my Kindle, I did not have an iPad, but a couple years later, I did get my hands on an iPad, and I figured out that you can use the Kindle app, and it basically works the exact same, and I started reading more on my iPad versus my Kindle. There are a couple of nuances though. The first thing that I liked about reading on my iPad was it was just a little bit more accessible in my day-to-day life. I felt like I was getting more use out of my iPad, and I was grateful for that. And I just liked how big the iPad was for my eyes. I also liked that I had like a little case that I could stand up my iPad like this, and I could read like that. Also really liked that you can highlight things in color. And you could do the same with Kindle on your phone, but to me, reading on my phone just feels like I'm reading Wattpad again. I mean, not again. It just feels a little bit wrong, but I liked it on the iPad because it was in color and it was also bigger and it felt a little bit less fanfiction-y. But I would still recommend the Kindle for the following reasons. One, it's still more portable than your iPad. Also, the battery life on the Kindle, gargantuan, amazing. I don't know how they did this, but it lasts like 2 weeks without me having to even think about putting it on a charger. And it's been like that since I got it 5 years ago. It's insane, actually. And I really love that about it, and my iPad is definitely not the same way. She be needing to be charged all the dang time. Also, if you are somebody who is trying to be less in touch with immediate technology or social media, or like just be on your devices less, and you're trying to read more, a Kindle, you can only read on it. There's very little else you can do on it. On your iPad, however, you get a little text notification, you could just open to a world of procrastination. For me, that's what started happening, so I started to be like, okay, no, I should use my Kindle more, and I should really respect that. My Kindle is just a book. It's just a weird looking book. Maybe something bad happened to it in the past, but it's just a book, and I can't really like get distracted on it very easily. Even if you have an iPad, even if you use the iPad Kindle app a lot, I would still think about getting a Kindle e-reader. The worst that could happen is you get it and you hate it and you resell it online. If you're watching this video, just be so for real with yourself. You know you want a Kindle. Go out and buy your Kindle. I'm giving you full permission. It will help with your reading habits. It will help you be off your phone. It will be a nice little device to carry around. It can help you if you're sitting alone at lunch and just wanting to read a little book. I love my Kindle Paperwhite, and I will be using it for the foreseeable future. And if you feel the same way, I hope that you let me know in the comments. I hope that you continue to read and enjoy reading as much as possible. And I hope that you have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like and subscribe.